Huey. Our next inductee began his big league career back in 1971 at KLRB in Carmel. Carmel got Seaweed, an occasion celebrated by his first trading card. Today, 23 trading cards later, the Hall of Fame comes calling. To introduce Stephen Seaweed, please welcome, direct from the steel mill, Billy Steele.
Yeah! Woo!
I never got to use one of these. 1950. It's a pleasure to be here today honoring all the inductees, specifically Mr. Stephen Seaweed, who's celebrating his 40th year in broadcasting. Let's hear it for him.
Woo!
40 years, Stephen. Now, according to your bio on the Bone site, you must have started broadcasting when the doctor slapped you on your ass. The numbers, they just don't make sense. Now, I should be presenting this award to you solely on your ability to sit through Stairway to Heaven twice a week for 40 years. That's 4,160 times. Great bathroom song. Hell of a lot of flushes. Stephen, you started out at KLRB, Carmel by the Sea, in '72. Are there any alumni here?
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear it. Well, the story is that no one of you wanted to work on New Year's Eve. Stephen went down, got an FCC license, and the next thing you know, a Bay Area radio legend was born. You did that show, you stayed on the air, and then the next stop in the 70s was KSAN. You worked for Ben. Rumor has it, you even might have worn a cowboy hat at the end. In the 70s, KFAT as well. Then in the 1980s through the mid-90s, it was KRQR The Rocker, where you found your spot in the middays and began doing the not yet world famous Hot Lunch. And you're still doing it 30 years later. The call letters have changed, well, sort of. KSAN once again, 107.7 The Bone, but the shift, the show, and the man remains the same. I first worked with Stephen in the 80s at KRQR. My first impression, he was no different off the air than he was on. It was my first big lesson from the man that I would later call my mentor in radio. I was producing the Lobster Breakfast, and after the show, I'd sit in the studio with Stephen and watch the master at work. Now, at that time, he was incredible with the razor blade. And I wasn't talking about the record company lunches. Get your minds out of the 80s, talking about cutting tape. It was amazing. His intros and outros between himself and his recorded callers have always been perfection. It's given the Hot Lunch an off-the-cuff live feel, when in reality, Stephen had really been prepping that noon hour since 10:30 in the morning. It was around that same time when new nicknames started to emerge. Weed Man, Weed Boy, or just Weed if you're into that brevity thing. It caught on quick, go figure, something your listeners already embraced and loved. Then the request started to reflect this. It was a renaissance in vernacular and phrases such as, twist me up a double shot, and you're rolling with weed. Stephen, you became a part of the fabric of Bay Area lifestyle and culture. And looking at criteria for being inducted into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame, extraordinary impact. One of the hardest things to achieve, you excelled at. In fact, you're like the Energizer Bunny. You just keep on going and going and going. Amazing. It's an extraordinary achievement in this business, and you should be proud. Personally, I love the guy. I grew up listening to him. His smooth delivery combined with the ability to bring people in simply by being himself. What you hear is what you get. I learned so much from watching him take phone calls and delivering a well-produced show. He's been my mentor in the business and a great friend. When I worked at KSJO, I was asked to change my name. I went to Steven. He advised me on picking my radio name, Billy Steele. He's had a huge impact on my radio career, as well as many generations of broadcasters that are sitting right over there. They did as I. They sat in Steven's studio, they watched and learned as I did. Now, Steven, when you decide to hang up your headphones in the Bay Area, we will then feel the void left behind by your ride in the sunset. Steven, you've touched the lives of up to several million listeners over several generations of rockers and boneheads. For all the great radio you've given to all of us over the years, this is something that I'm proud to present to you. Congratulations.
I haven't used one of these microphones either. I love it. Thank you very much, Billy Steele. I love you. You always make me feel like a big shot. And you mentioned splicing tape. Of course, the old school method of undo on splicing tape meant fishing around in the trash can to find that piece of tape and put it back in there. Hey, I do want to say thank you to David and the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame. I'm really honored to be here. I brought my whole family with me. My beautiful wife Kathy is here. We've been together my entire radio career of 40 years, 10 months, and 5.5 days as of today. It's funny, somebody asked her one time, they said, don't you worry about your husband being around these attractive young interns and bone rock girls and stuff? She said, no, I worry about their mothers. My awesome son Travis is here with me today too. This guy, he is an inveterate radio listener. He knows more about music than I do, and he always has the right take whenever I'm wondering about what I should do. So Travis, thank you very much for that. And I'm happy to say, Billy mentioned it, my entire Bone family is here too. Yvonne, Kelly, super producer Sully, David Huey. I cannot imagine mornings without you fellas. You guys are the best. The fabulous Nikki Black is here. Great female voice of rock radio today. Leif Yeager's in the house. This is the only guy I'll let fill in for me because he's such a badass radio guy. Oh, my producer Ander is here today. It took me 38 years to finally get some help on the radio, and this guy is spectacular. He keeps me relevant. He keeps me on track. And so far, he's kept me out of jail. So actually, I shouldn't be saying too much good about him because somebody's going to snag this guy someday. But you can't have him until they put me out to pasture. So, and as Billy also mentioned, my first radio family is here too. That would be KLRB Carmel by the Seaweed. Not to be confused, by the way, with KRML Carmel. That's where they shot the scenes for Play Misty for Me. And yes, I have had a few thousand requests over the years for me to play Misty for them. They usually got Ozzy instead. You guys all know Rosalie from Cape Cod. A guy that I've just admired for years is in the house tonight, Genial Johnny Simmons. This guy created the Blue Highway radio show, and I'm happy to report he's still in radio. He hosts Morning Edition on KUSB in Santa Cruz, the great Genial Johnny, with a massive and powerful listening audience too. And one of my dearest and oldest friends, DJ Donna, is here. She still lives in Carmel. She drove all the way up here. One of the great radio personalities of that era. We had such a great time at that radio station. I got to tell you, I'm reminded of a Beatles song we used to play all the time, where McCartney said, "You and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead." It was such a great time at that radio station. And you know what? I do want to say hello and thank you to all my fellow nominees here. My God, Tony Salvador, you and Dwight hired me 16 years ago at Susquehanna.
We were smart.
That was one of your great radio decisions. I haven't met everybody yet.
That's
but,
why he's here.
Oh my God, Ted Robinson. We go back to our CBS days. Ted, I'm a big fan of your work, and I've noticed that you have never once failed to correctly pronounce the name of an obscure Chinese diver. My old friend Greg Kinn, I'm sorry he couldn't be here today, but it's nice to be inducted with another old rock dog. And oh, I do want to say thank you to my many program directors over the years. I've actually had 18 program directors, been one myself, worked for a few years without one, but I especially want to thank the one that changed formats right in the middle of the first ever live broadcast from 500-mile bike ride. I forget the guy's name, I'm sorry, but I remember the year, it was 1996. We were in San Luis Obispo, and it was 84 degrees, and I got a call from the program director. Steve, we're going to change the format and the call letters tomorrow after your shift. You're welcome to keep doing the ride, but your broadcast is over. Luckily, my radio career wasn't over, but last time I checked, I think that guy's career was over. And, by the way, Alice Potter, we haven't met. I love you. I wish that we could have worked together in radio. So, thank you. And lastly, I do want to thank all of the radio listeners, the fans, the people we talk to every day. I once interviewed the great comedian George Carlin, this was way back in the day, and I think it was right after a book signing. I think it was one of his books about something to do with brain damage is important or something like that. And I said to George, I said, doesn't it bother you, all these people coming up asking for your autograph and having to have their picture taken with you? And he said, no, my God, are you kidding? You give somebody 30 seconds of your time and you have a fan for life. And that's when I realized that, you know what, this guy was absolutely right. And what we do, it really is all about connecting with people. And Paul McCartney said it, here he is again. If you're lonely, you can talk to me. So thank you very much to all the radio listeners out there. It's great to be with all of you people. Thank you so much. Thank you.